None of the women on the show are marriage material, in my opinion. None of them, for a lot of different reasons. Like, hey everyone, I'm back. Thanks again for tuning in. Please remember to like, subscribe. Let me know that you missed me with a comment. And turn on the notifications if you're watching on YouTube, because you never know when another episode is going to drop. So thanks a lot. Hey, welcome back. I'm here for episode 175 of the podcast. Thank you guys for sticking around with me. Waiting for me. I haven't forgotten about you. In this episode, I explain what I've been up to, what's been going on. I give some quite, I think, insightful economic news that's been flying under the world radar recently, that just to give you a heads up on that. Then I give my review of Love is Blind Japan. Ooh, I smile every time I think about that show. And finally, I talk about a few movies about Japan that are coming out this year. One that I think is highly inaccurate, and one that I think is very accurate that I'm looking forward to watching at some point in time. But there's a bunch of shit to get through. There's a bunch of supplemental material as well in the comments description section of this for you to look at, just to tide you over. So, enjoy. Hey everyone. Hey, hello. I'm back. I'm not gone. I'm drinking an Asahi Super Dry. It was a present from some in-laws. Asahi's not really my favorite beer, but I'm probably totally gonna leave that in. I had to start and restop because I had to get a koozie for my beer so that I could talk to you guys in comfort. Welcome back. I got another little U-shaped pillow thing. We upgraded the facilities here so that to accommodate baby life and stuff like that for the kids. So I got a more comfortable little pillow set up. You can see my arms are resting quite comfortably on YouTube. We're here for episode 175. It's been a while since I talked to you guys. It's been over a month. It feels like it's been an eternity. I just gave that quick update, about a month or so ago, to let you guys know that my daughter has been born. She's she's 2 months. It's been 2 months already. Jeez. It feels like it's been a lot longer than that. I mean, and not in a bad way, in a good way. It just means having another, if you have kids, if you have more than one kid, adding a new member to the family. It's the first time adding a new member to the family. Like when your first kid is born, it's like, oh wow, I got a kid, wow, and then you get used to that. And the second one is like an addition, so the family dynamic changes quite a bit. It's like, kind of transformer type situation, and the dynamics, everything changes. So it's our first time going through that, my son going through that, everyone in the house going through that. And so it took quite a bit of adjustment, but we're starting to settle into it. So even though it's only been 2 months, we've gone through so many transitions together as a family. It feels like it's been a lot, but now everyone's, sleeping, even the dog. So, this is the first time in a while I feel like I'm really comfortable to, sit down and record. I've been able to I've had the time to do it, but I just haven't had I'm not gonna lie, I haven't had the motivation to do it. Also in the past few months, just in work and business and things like that, I had a few ideas that I'd been flushing out, working on, that changed quite a bit in the past couple months. Just to give you guys an update. Don't worry, I got some shit to talk about that I alluded to in the last update. I didn't prepare anything for it. I'm not doing the editing I wanted to do, but I'm just gonna go off memory a bit later. But just give you a quick update first. Fuck, now I forgot what the fuck I was talking about. I've been getting forgetful lately too. What was I talking about? I was talking about work. Yeah. So my other work, my business that I'm trying to develop, I had gone through two really, really significant breakthroughs and idea changes, and which of course I won't talk about on this platform. It's just not the place. It's boring. It's in the idea phase anyway. But one thing I started, I'm not gonna lie, I'll tell you guys, like about a month ago, I was planning to start. I actually did start a separate YouTube channel for Japanese people to help, for my business. And I was thinking like that would be where I would put the majority of my effort moving forward. And so I was like about a month ago, I was like thinking it through, and I was like, I might have to stop the podcast. Actually, I might have to delete all this shit if things go the way I wanted to. I was really going back and forth in my head, because I was like, this other content for Japanese people, I will probably have to be recording and doing that all the time, and I like doing that. But right now isn't the time for that. I'm not even sure if I want to do that now. And then I had another breakthrough, which went like and took me in a completely other direction. And so that whole content creation idea got put on stop for me because what I'm really want to do with the big project that I'm working on is completely different, and YouTube content creation marketing type thing isn't really in the cards for that right now. So it was like, okay, I'm just not gonna, I made like one test video just to flesh out the idea, and I just stopped there. And so the podcast is still going. I mean, I'm not going anywhere for now, but as I said before, at least 6 months, it will be kind of probably like a once a month kind of thing. I just stop in and check on you guys, just because like life stuff. Plus, even tonight, like I was sitting here like, fuck, I gotta take out all this shit. It's like 11 o'clock at night. Like, I kind of just want to work on my other project and and go to bed, because I just need my laptop and that's it. But I decided, I was like, look at the count, like it's been over a month. Like I really wanted to talk. I want to talk to you guys. Like I do, because there's a bunch of shit, going on related to Japan. There's a bunch of shit going on in the world, but especially in Japan. Oh my gosh. There's a lot of shit okay. I realized another issue I gotta talk to you guys about. Okay. Let me just, but that's what's going on. I'm happy. I'm great. I hung out with, today's my day off. I did a bunch of family shit today. Yesterday was, I hung out with, Jeff and his kid yesterday. And me and my son, we had a great time in Central Tokyo, just hanging out. Me and him drinking, our kids acting crazy. He was just like, I'll tell you, Jeff has a son. So, his son is younger than my son. And so they were just running all over the place. Like, his son was, they were running all over the place. And we were just like laughing. We were just having like dad moments, dad times. It was good, really, really good. And I'm happy we could do that. That was our first time with our kids hanging out with each other. Like they met before, but now that his kid's a bit older, like a toddler, and he's like mobile, he can talk and stuff, like they can actually get a feel for each other, versus like just him barely talking, not knowing what's going on, just sitting there eating like vegetables, looking at us, so yeah, that was great, and I'm looking forward to doing that some more in the near future. A lot of stuff. Okay, I'm gonna get to the serious topic first. A lot of crazy stuff has been going on of course you can see now, I'm going business, going economics again, in the financial markets in the world. If you don't know, the Japanese yen has been depreciating quite rapidly over the past weeks, and I've been, of course, I'm tracking this thing, and which is I do as part of my hobby, my interest, my preparedness, whatever. And yeah, I think some people I've talked to, I'm luckily I have some students in different financial industry positions, and yeah, they see and I see as well, like this situation continuing for the foreseeable future. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm not a fucking economist. I'm a English teacher. I don't know shit. Okay, but my thing, I personally, I think the next quote unquote financial crisis will be sparked by the Japanese economy. It's kind of what I'm expecting will happen. Like, a sovereign debt crisis will come from Japan. It's kind of what I'm foreseeing. Again, I've been wrong before. Excuse me. Again, sorry. Hey, it's my day off. you know, I have been wrong before. I probably will be wrong again. But this situation would basically, in the financial experts I've talked to, basically financial professionals, not experts. Let me see, professionals I've talked to, and just ran some ideas. What about this and what about that? What about, they're like, yeah, pretty much. There's nothing unless there's some miracle situation. The way the cards are set up right now for the Japanese economy and the exchange rate. I can walk you through it very briefly if you don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. So basically, an easy way, there's a lot of dynamics at play here, but the easy way of thinking about it is that because of the American Federal Reserve and basically central banks all over the world raising interest rates as a result of, inflation that has been, ravaging through pretty much every corner of the earth since the situation that happened several years ago. Which can be blamed on the certain conflict that's happening now. But if you know that that might have expedited the situation, but the real cause is the trillions of dollars that has been created over the past 2 years. You kind of heard me talk about it in the past, and yeah, like when that situation happened, I think I've said it here before, like, I was like, yo, inflation's coming in a couple of years, and people with a similar way of thinking, like, yo, inflation's coming in a couple of years, you gotta get ready. And the experts were like, it'll be fine. And then remember, there will be no inflation. Inflation will be transitory. And then, oh wow, nobody expected inflation. But yeah, people in the Austrian School of Economics kind of did, right? But I digress. So, and with that, central banks all over the world are trying to catch up and raise interest rates, right? Now, by raising interest rates, you're basically hitting the brakes on the economy. Low interest rates, zero interest rate policy, you're hitting the gas. Higher interest rates, you're listen to me, trying to sound like a fucking expert. Hey, do your own research. I'm that guy. Do your own research, but But easy way of thinking about it: high interest rates, you're hitting the brake. Low interest rates, you're hitting the gas, right? So because of public sentiment of the rising inflation, the need to kind of keep pumping money into the economy, public sentiment is like, yo, what are you guys doing? So, central banks, they decide to hit the brakes, especially the American central bank, and raise interest rates, right? Now, what that does, though, and how it relates to Japan is of course it starts to crash the economy, which is naturally, right? You're hitting the brakes, you're slowing it down. The easy money, the party's kind of ending. You're taking away the punch bowl from people. But also, what that does in the bond market is because Japan has like basically effective zero interest rates, like you get zero interest on your money here in Japan. What has happened is the American interest rate is rising. So it you get like 3, 4, like 2, 3% now, about 3% interest rate on your money. But in Japan you get zero basically. Like it's like now it's like 0.25. I'll get to that in a second. It used to be 0.20, which is an important thing to know. But it was like zero, even negative. Basically you're paying money to buy bonds in Japan. For the longest time. And so what has happened is basically essentially it's more attractive for money, instead of to being parked in Japan, to just sell Japanese yen, buy dollars, and invest that into US bond market, the U.S. bond market, and to get some type of interest there. This is for financial professionals. Trust me, I'm not doing this shit. But what that does, that puts a lot of selling pressure on the yen. That also puts a lot of selling pressure on the Japanese bond market for a lot of reasons that are a lot more complicated than I can really explain, and I'm not even going to try. The bond market is way deeper waters than I'm even willing to even venture into, but I'm just monitoring what's happening. So pretty much the Bank of Japan had like a range, like 0.2% interest rate, 0.2% interest rate, not 2%, 0.2% is what you're getting on your money, and negative 0.2%. And that was the range that they were saying that they wanted to keep the interest rate in, right? Now, something interesting happened several weeks ago, which concerned me. And one student I talked to, he's like a really, really, really smart person who's in the financial industry, like a financial professional, and I was like, yo, hey, can you take a look at this one day? And, because I saw it bumped up against that 2.0 limit. And he was like, oh, don't worry about it. It'll be fine. And I was just like, well, what happens if this and what happens if this? And he kind of told me some scenarios. And then fast forward, the Bank of Japan, because it kept hitting the limit of that 0.20 percentage point because of the rise in interest rates, the Bank of Japan capitulated and they changed it. They're like, yeah, okay, we're not going 0.25. We're not going 0.20. We're going 0.25%. And we're making that the hard line cap of interest rates. And anything above that interest rate, we'll basically produce unlimited money out of nowhere. And that it's been bumping up against that like for the past few months, which is not a good thing at all. Basically, it's like you're maxing out your credit card, and you're basically saying like, we'll sell whatever we need to sell because we keep maxing our credit card, and you're maxing out your credit card every day. Basically, this is what's happening in Japan, and the debt in Japan is so huge that like any nominal increase in interest rates will bankrupt the country, basically. So now you're going back to central banking, like as I told you previously. I've called it like, it's like musical chairs, right? And Japan has been left without a chair because all of the other major central banks all over the world have decided they're raising interest rates, and they rush to grab a chair. But the Bank of Japan has been the first one to enter the zero interest rate game, and they're the first one left without a chair because they can't raise effective, in my opinion, and some people I've talked to as well, the Bank of Japan can't raise interest rates. If they do, they'll basically bankrupt the country because so much money has been printed to keep the zero interest rate game going on for about 30 years now that we're getting to the final stages of it, in my opinion. So I see in people like me, I'm preparing my family as well. The yen now at the start of the year is like 110, around 100 something, basically, yen to the dollar. Now we're at like 131, which means like we've lost like, I don't know, basic math, I'll just say like 20 something percent of the value of the currency has been lost in the past, in the couple of in a couple of months. I feel it, when I'm not gonna lie, I feel it when I'm buying stuff from abroad, when I'm importing stuff. I feel it now. Companies after a year, stuff are starting to raise their prices all around me. I see it. And this is something that has been kind of unthinkable in the Japanese psyche for like about 30 years, pretty much. Like in Japanese people's mind, like high prices, inflation is kind of like, there are people who's never experienced it at all, So, this is a pretty watershed moment, and I'm telling my family, I'm telling people like, get ready for it. I'm like, it's coming, basically, and so, we're taking like, of course we're still enjoying our life and doing things like that, but also just, I'm constantly like in my family's ear, like, yo, inflation's here, this price is raised, this is going on, this is, plus as far as like the fact is outside of Japan as well, I just don't see there any way, like in the Japanese government, yeah, okay. I don't really see any way that they're going to be able to stop this thing. And policy wise, with barring something completely off the radar screen coming in, I don't really see anything stopping this train. So, pretty much like for the next year or however long, I'm just expecting the currency to keep devaluing. Like, I don't know what number it is. I just pulled a random number in my head. Don't quote me on this, but right now, gasoline is at one like 60 or something like that per gallon, 160 yen per liter. I'm sorry, not gallon, liter. And which has been held artificially low by the government, basically subsidizing the gas price to keep it low. I don't think that's going to last too long. So for me, I got 200 as like a number. I just pulled it out of the air, but it just feels like right, like 200 yen to $1 to 200 yen, and 200 yen per 1 liter of gas as like a psychological image I've got of worst case scenario that I can see, so that I can kind of, okay, how would we maneuver in that type of environment, and I'm kind of simulating that now over the next year. So I mean, I don't know if it'll happen, I don't know if it'll get there, but just in case, I'm kind of mentally hyping myself up and preparing for that, and preparing my family for that, stocking up on essential stuff, just so that we can absorb that price shock as much as possible. But again, like there's some essential things that I import, just hunting for deals, when I can find them, like changing my food choices, like downgrading my lunch, not getting like the nice lunchbox or sandwich I get, going to the supermarket, getting the supermarket lunchbox to save myself a few bucks, or a few hundred yen, whenever I can, like, those kind of things is kind of what I've started doing, just to get in the habit of it, as much as possible, because I know like it's going to continue to accelerate. So, and I honestly, I expect, like, when seems like every financial professional I hear and listen to and follow is like, and my gut is also telling me this is going to be here for a while. We're getting, the wave is coming. So, yeah, I just have a feeling like the domestic situation, the way it's looking, and the size of Japan's economy, Japan will be the catalyst of the next crisis that happens. So I forgot. I keep forgetting to tell my family, if you hear some shit about Japan on the news, relax, we're fine. But yeah, just not to worry anybody, or not to sound all doom and gloom, but just keep one eye open for that, for the exchange rate, pop in on that every few weeks, and you'll kind of see what I'm talking about. Yeah, because she's kind of crazy. Okay, so that's my financial shit. Let's move on to some bullshit. So like I told you guys last time, again, I'm gonna give my review of Love is Blind. Love is blind. It can take over your mind. Something, 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 something. Eve, that was like EVE, 1999, maybe 2000. Yeah. I'm getting old, man. It's 22 years ago, man. I was in college. So hey, okay, whatever. Anyway, like I was saying, okay, Love is Blind, right? And Love is Blind. Like I'm hooked on the show. I started with the American version. My wife and I watched it about a year ago, year and a half. I can't remember. During the whole situation, that was one of our go-to shows. And when I heard that they had Love is Blind Japan, I was all over that thing, right? And for all of you guys, the vast majority of people watching the show or listening to this podcast are guys. So, and you're interested in Japan. I'm imagining you're interested in Japanese women. If you are currently or in the future planning on coming to Japan and dating Japanese women, I highly recommend that you watch Love is Blind Japan. Even if you don't like those type of shows, like power through it, if you do like those type of shows and you haven't watched it, watch Love Is Blind and Love Is Blind Japan together. I would recommend, like, maybe season 2 might be interesting for both if you have it, and watch one for one and just to compare. Because I watched both of them kind of simultaneously. If you compare the two shows and compare mating, not mating, but dating in Japan, and looking for a partner for marriage in Japan versus the West is quite different. Now, keep in mind, this is not like a perfect example because for several reasons, okay, which I would, allude to. I had some detailed notes like about the show because I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna go in on this, but again, I'm not gonna pull out all the stops on this. I'll just give you my 2 cents on it, and I'll just let you have at it if you're interested in watching the show. But there are a few very glaring things that you need to understand about this about this show, and why it is very, I think, important that you watch it, just so that you're up on a few things. Now, the first thing you will notice is that, and I talk like, okay, Love Is Blind. There's just a lot of shit to say. Okay. 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 All right. So the first thing I want you guys to think about is that in Love Is Blind Japan, okay, first, everyone's 30, about 30 and 30-ish, right? So 30 is like a huge timeline, for women, but in general, but especially in Japan. Like in the West, we've kind of gotten into the space where it's like, yeah, 30 something, I'll get married, and 35-ish, maybe think about having kids, and I've got time, for my opinion, for a lot of different factors that people aren't really aware of. But, basically the time for settling down has been pushed backwards quite a bit. Japan isn't really like that. Women are very much aware of turning 30, and at 30, you should be married, and their biological clock really kicks in at 30, right? So if you're in a relationship with a woman who's like, I say 27, she's starting to think about marriage. Like, fun time is over at 27, right? For Japanese women, it's like, I'm not trying to waste my time with a guy I can't see marrying, at 27. Like, I mean, it can happen around 26, 25, 24. A girl's still trying to have fun. She wants to date, 23, 22, she's just trying to have fun, explore, smash maybe. She's just whatever. But over 25 is when women really start getting marriage minded in Japan, right? Where they start feeling it. And after 27, like, she's looking for a husband. And after 30, it's like husband or bust. And that's kind of what you can get a feel for watching the show. Like, all the women are 30 plus. Now, they are mainly reality show women. Like, okay, no, before I said, in my opinion, just my opinion, watching, and I had detailed notes about every girl on the show, every woman on the show, I should say. I'm not going to pull those out just because for time, motivation, I'm just not going to do it. Broad strokes, my first glance, none of the women on the show are marriage material, in my opinion. None of them, for a lot of different reasons. Like, nah. If one of my friends was dating any one of them, and was like, considering marrying them, I would be like, you sure about that, dude? Like, yeah, nah, nah. I mean, first off, to make it, like, the setup, everything is meant to appeal to international audiences. So the aesthetic of the show, the pod area that they had, my wife was like, ugh, what the fuck are they doing? I'm like, well, they're appealing to the cool Japan image of Japan, what foreign people think Japan is really like versus what it's really like. Because what it's really like is a lot more boring and a lot more bland than what foreign people visualize it. It's more like, like I've said, it's Kyoto and Harajuku mixed together, right? It's cherry blossom season and electric boogaloo and idol culture, like, mismatched together. It's kind of what people think it is, what I'm saying? And in everyday Japan is just not like that at all, and everyday Japanese people are not like that at all. It's a very life here is actually very mundane. very dry toast. Depending on where you are, but generally speaking, that's just the truth, right? And you don't really realize that until you actually get here and live here. How there's a certain groove or pace to life that isn't really flashy like you would see in movies or TV shows that are trying to recreate what the foreign people want to see from Japan. There is a difference between what foreign people want to see from Japan and what you actually do see from living in Japan. And the producers of Love is Blind Japan, very much, from their set design and the people that they chose, played into that very much. They didn't, because if they would have chosen average, everyday, like regular Japanese people, it would have been a boring ass show. So they got like a yoga instructor, and they got like a fucking former. Oh, trust me, I was checking all these people's Instagrams. Like my wife was laughing at me because. Like while we're watching the show, I'm like, let me, this is my person. I'm like, let me see what this person's all about. I'm just like scrolling through all this shit, like, now I understand, former beauty pageant model and hairstylists and all these fucking people, and I'm just like, okay, I got it. I'm especially talking about the women that they chose. They chose a lot of unique, I'll just use unique for lack of a better word, women, not like run of the mill. On the surface, and that's what's interesting about Japan. On the surface, they might seem like your run of the mill Japanese women, but trust me, when I was looking at their profiles, like, all of the ones they chose are not your average chicks here, mentally, right? But one thing that you will notice is that, the courtship process, on the surface and how it's discussed, is quite different. Hold on. Okay, sorry about that. I thought I heard something. I thought it was either earthquake or something. Okay. Anyway, yeah, it's quite different from the run of the mill courtship process that you would experience outside, in the Western cultures, and you notice like it's very practical. They're talking about, okay, how will we survive, how will we live, what are these things? I have to go meet my parents. You've heard me talk about these things quite a bit, but you'll actually see it, that it's not like if you look at like the Western version, it's like, do we love each other? Are we fucking? Yeah, by the way, nobody's fucking on this show. Like nobody's having sex at all. But in the West, I was like, that was one person. I was like, are they gonna fuck? Is anybody gonna fuck on this show? Like, there's gonna be any Japanese fucking going on, but nah, you don't see none of that shit, right? But in the West, people can't wait to get their clothes off. Like, "Ooh, how big is it? Or, is it okay?" Like, like that's like the first night, like the basis of things, right? Yeah, so that's what you need to understand too. Like if you're dating a woman, especially if you're dating women around 30, the first and foremost thing in their mind is not like, can you please them in the bedroom? Do they make their heart swoon? They're thinking, can this person provide for me and my future children a stable home, a stable income through thick and thin? That's the number one priority out of anything. Then it's, okay, love, compatibility, chemistry, and things like that is a bonus. Even if it's like there was some people on there, I saw what they did for a living. I was like, okay, this person's gonna be fine. They're gonna definitely be able to get a partner, no problem. Just based on what they do, for a living. Like the doctor guy is definitely got chicks who are gonna want him. Of course, it's just natural, like, and you can see as soon as they talk about what they do for a living, like lights go off. Well, being okay, that's this person, there's a few surprises that go on there, but that's the main thing. Yeah, so that's, I think, the biggest takeaway. Like, it's a show I highly recommend someone who's about to come to Japan watch, just to understand like the dating culture here, and it's very different than you would think, and your game or whatever. And also to just see how Japanese women talk, the cadence, the way that they communicate and talk and think, the timing of a conversation, the difference between what Japanese women say and what they're actually thinking, for example. There's a huge difference in a lot of things. Of course, it's made for TV. Of course, these are not, again, everyday women, but that is something you can can pick up quite a bit. So okay, I'm gonna leave it there just because there's one more thing I want to talk about very quickly before I get out of here. But definitely check it out. I had a blast watching it. My wife was like, "I'm so evil" because I was laughing my ass off at a bunch of this bullshit. Yeah, okay, you know how I am with shit like that. Okay, so the last thing I wanted to talk about, which I alluded to in my previous update, is Bullet Train. The series Bullet Train, or not the series, the movie Bullet Train. And was there something else I watched? I had something else I watched, but whatever. I'm just not even going to talk about that. Yeah, so there was a trailer for this movie coming out. I don't even know when this shit's coming out. Called Bullet Train. I saw like about a month ago. And it stuck out at me. It seems, I wonder if it's based on a comic or what, but it's a Brad Pitt movie. Okay, I can just summarize it very quickly. That shit in that movie is not Japan at all. Like, you know, it's again similar. It's the cartoon stylized Western image of what people think Japan is. Like, it was just so I wanted to break down the trailer. That's one thing I wanted to do because there's just so many things like in that one something minute trailer. I was like, what the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? Why is that there? That doesn't make any sense. Like, it's like, you know, I could just pick it apart. You know, because it just looks weird. You know. Neon everywhere, lanterns. I remember there were lanterns like aligning the bullet train tracks, which makes no fucking sense at all. Like, you know, people it's just throwing shit in there. Like, okay, lanterns, that's cool in Japan, but just throw that shit in there too. Like, the stylized aesthetic of the bullet train itself looks nothing like a fucking Japanese bullet train. The staff, the food, it just looked weird, you know. And it reminds me again of I mean, before I came to Japan, I thought that's what Tokyo was all about, but it isn't. It isn't. And so I encourage you, I'll try to remember. But if I forget, whatever, you know, if you look at the trailer for Bullet Train versus actually like a real bullet train interior, you'll see, you know, quite a huge difference. And I'm especially saying this, you know, of course, more mature listeners might know that, might realize that, but maybe someone who hasn't been to Japan and who might be in their teens or 20s, hopefully you're not teenagers listening to this bullshit. Someone in their early 20s, you know, who you know, you might not know, or you might subconsciously, you know, have preconceived notion about Japan, and that version of Japan might be the dominant image you have, but you just gotta throw all that shit out the window before you come here, because it's not like that. It's not stylized like that. It's not bright like that. Japan is just like all that shit just looks weird. And so, I mean, the movie itself, I'm not saying the movie's bad, you know, I probably will sometime or another watch it, you know, just because it seems like they're going like a comic comedy kind of way. But just the aesthetic of the movie is not accurate at all, and which is Hollywood. It's the Hollywood Japan, you know, that's what it is, right? Just like, you know, Hollywood does like hood movies, you know, or you know, black characters, stuff like that. There's a certain, you know, trope that they have to have, and then there's a certain aesthetic that they have to have as well. You know, there's got to be something kabuki. It's got to be something, you know, traditional. It's got to be cherry blossoms somewhere. You know, every there's always cherry blossoms. You know, shit like that. Like there's a schoolgirls in uniforms. You know, and some Japanese girl with funky hair and, you know, weird high shoes or something like. Oh, you know, there. Okay, whatever. Okay, so I'm just end it there. But yeah, pretty much like don't take that movie for it's what you see, you know, and I'll just say any movie that's not produced. Oh, but there is one movie, it's like Tokyo, that I just remembered, that it's like Tokyo Vice, I think it is. Let me see if I can quickly find this. That movie is let me see if I can find this very quickly before I get out of here. Yeah, that movie is quite accurate. what is this? Sorry, give me 1 second, because I really want to see this one. Is it yeah, it is. Yeah, it's Tokyo Vice. It's called Tokyo Vice. Tokyo Vice is, I mean, is what you would expect from Japan. Like, that's something that's clearly filmed in real Japan, and everyday life there is like that. Is, you know, from what I saw in the trailer. So, if I have time or a chance to watch that, I'll be sure to give you guys a review of that. Bullet Train, you know, I'm not so sure. I might watch it for shits and giggles for a time, but if you want to know more what real Japan is like and you had to choose one, I'd say go for Tokyo Vice. Let me put this trailer in my notes, because there's one second. Okay, because there are yeah, definitely also check the notes for this episode, because there are quite a few interesting sorry, I'm doing two things at the same time. Okay, there are quite a few videos, links that I have for you. One car related one about a car I didn't know about. I just watched this random mini documentary about it that was really interesting. It took me like 10 minutes to find it for you guys, so please watch that shit. And the trailer for Tokyo Vice as well, and a few other random things just to make up for the fact that I haven't been around for a while, and to tide you over until, you know, for the next however knows how long, until you know, I pop up back again with another video for you guys. So again, throughout the summertime at least, this, you know, it'll probably be spotty like this, just especially because I got this other thing that I'm really trying to, I'm not going to talk about it at all with you guys, but it's unrelated to the podcast, but just for my personal thing I have to do, and it'll take me a while, and I'm trying to figure it out. But you know, I'll get there. So wish me luck. Thank you guys as always for sticking in and rocking with me, and I will holler at you next time. Peace.